Hi folks, I hope you all enjoyed my little jest in the last video we did over 1 hour long um, about the whole drama that is ongoing. I just wanted to be more specific and very brief about the situation in the web because now people are taking sides and stuff like that. There is no side to be taken. I just wanted to tell that. Why? Because it's not a family field. It's not boomer against boomer. It's not all those funny things that some people are trying to put to try to dump it down, and it's a really bad idea to dump this down. Because truth be said, I'm not picking sides. It's not a question of picking sides. It's a question of somebody said something really nasty about someone while claiming about someone else, while claiming higher moral ground and claiming to be about ethics and rationality and all the good and sweet stuff. And yet it was nasty and sour. That's what it is about. It's not about two sides. Because one person screwed up, okay? Carl has been picking on Jim since Jim left Gamergate. Gamergate, mind you, is a movement without leadership, was a movement without leadership, and that's actually one of the reasons that Jim left, because he didn't want to be hailed as the leader of Gamergate, although it was his video that kick-started the whole Gamergate thing. He left for several reasons, one of them being he didn't want to be understood as such, another being, as far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but what if I'm right, his channel was reaching quickly over 100,000 subscribers. When they do that, a lot of people from Google and YouTube would have access to his um, personal details, like home address and everything. And some people are involved, and Jim knows it, in some of the debacles he has been a part of previously. One of the things Jim has done was to persecute and try to expose child groomers and stuff and such like that. And when Carl posts a snippet of Jim actually trying to get to a guy that was above legal age of consent to admit to what he's doing, as if Jim is grooming kids and he's the proof when he's not. Another thing, the no, but the majority, another allegation. Carl did several bad allegations, very unfactual allegations about Jim, and that's what happened. Jim was leaving him. He was not touching him. Even when Carl called him a lot of stuff back in the past, when Jim left Gamergate, because he didn't want to be leader of a leadless movement. And it's lousy that Carl tried to call himself as one of the heads of Gamergate. I cannot approve to that. Now, have I been involved in Gamergate? Not going to mention, that's irrelevant. It's not about me here. I wasn't the one who fucked up. I have been following the whole thing as I follow several things. That already was a problem when a little group of people tried to claim leadership of a movement that had no leaders, just because nobody would claim leadership because the movement had no leaders. That's when I started noticing certain patterns that I don't approve of. But fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't say anything then. But now it's going too far. Now it went too far. It's not going. It already went too far. Because now what is going on is that Carl is openly going against Jim with false allegations, trying to smear him, trying to slander him. Now, if Jim was a public person, like in the sense if we knew who Jim is and his real name would have been quoted, he would probably sue Carl at this point. And this whole thing of, oh, but I said grooming, I didn't say. It's slander nonetheless, because you're implying that he's doing nasty shit to kids, and you insisted. It's not just you said, you insist in error. You know, you insist, and keep on insisting, and it's very adamant that he is doing that. And you really claimed several times over that the majority of people who follow Jim's channel are children, and they are not, and that can be proved in the statistics. So it's not one against the other, because uh, as if they would be in equal footing, because it's not. Carl made some very serious allegations against Jim that if he was a real person, a real name, uh, would be very serious, liable to court case serious. It's not a joke anymore. It was not intended as a joke. Nobody here, Carl might think everybody's foolish because he has still a few people that he's grooming. He is charming to convince that he is their friend, when I doubt it at this point. When I saw a video years ago that Carl picked up he was smoking a cigarette, and he looked at his neighbor lawn. Naturally, he just threw his cigarette butt at, like, there was a fence. He threw it over the fence to the neighbor's garden, and then he looked at the camera, and then he realized that he was still being filmed. Like, it was this reindeer caught in the spotlight moment, and then he just relaxed and like, oh, those fools are not going to realize it. Well, guess what? We do. We pay attention. So again, just following through things I've seen naturally, as I usually use it as background while I'm working and stuff, so I listen. As people used to do with radio, I do it with video. So whenever now and then I look, and then I looked, and there was that scene. It was very interesting. I repeated, I saw the full thing. So there's a pattern there, a really bad pattern. So it's not, they are not in equal footage. It's not boomer against boomer. It's not internet field. It's not really drama as we usually know, that both sides get outraged. No, it's not. It's a clear attempt to slander someone, like. And as Jim said, again, I'm not taking sides. It's not a question of taking sides. It's a question, if you claim to be about ethics, if you claim to be about the higher moral ground, if you claim to be about the golden rule, because this all boils down to golden rule, right? Don't do to others what you don't wish done upon yourself. Then we have a problem, and the problem is not that they are in equal footing. The problem is that one part went too far, and neither that part recognizes that they went too far and apologizes. Not because he can harm Jim in any way, when Jim hasn't done anything wrong, but because that exposes a hypocrisy. When, again, people who are claiming to be the head of highly ethical movements that Jim never claimed, so he's not in equal footage with Sagan or Carl. I'm using my real name, so to hell with that. It's simply Carl went too far, he needs to apologize, and that's it. If he doesn't do that, and he hasn't done, instead he's insisting in playing the higher character ground. One thing that internet people have been doing is to hold people accountable to their own standards. So they're just going to hold you to your own standards, Carl. Do you understand? Are we clear about that, Carl? What they are going to do next, once the shock is past, I'm still shocked, to tell you the truth. I expected a lot of stuff. I didn't expect Carl calling him that. And literally trying to show a clip of something completely out of context about someone who is not the age that Carl claimed he was, uh, to try to frame Jim as something he's not. That's going too far. That's when someone does not know when to stop. So once the shock is over, if it is not ongoing, Carl should pray if he believes in a God or whatever he believes in, even for himself. Pray for himself if he doesn't believe in anything but himself. That they don't find a catchphrase, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next is that they're going to hold him to his standards. That's what is going to happen next. And they are going to roast him accordingly. That's what is going to happen next. The internet, that is. There will be those who liked, who are fans, who, for whatever personal reasons, prefer Carl. But even those at some point, if it continues, if it goes on, they will stop trying to defend him. Because what will go on now is, again, as soon as people stop being baffled, because what the hell? Because right now some people are still confused about what is going on. Some of the heaviest trolls. But as soon as they realize what is going on, they're going to go right at it. Those are people tired of hypocrisy. So they trigger at hypocrisy. It's no family film. It's one person who needs to apologize for going too far. And if we don't do that, as allegedly the internet fighting for freedom and all that, if individuals who strive for leadership in such movements, because they are not, wish to do that, wish to be the higher moral ground, then they should have the decency to apologize when they go too far. Instead, he's trying to mock people who try to point out what he did wrong as, oh, the big man. People who are inviting him to their channels to talk about it. He's running from it. Carl is running from direct debate with Jim. Now, who does that? Usually people who did wrong. Because otherwise, why run? If he indeed had the upper hand by the standards that he claimed to hold dear, which now people are highly doubtful against, once the baffling is over, once the confusion is over, people will realize. Right now, friends are still trying to defend him, fans are still trying to take his side, but it's inevitable. If it continues, it's inevitable that they will soon realize that they've been following a lie. I hope this is not the case. I really hope. Because Carl at least was doing something right. He was trying to bring all those nerds outdoors. At least that, in that sense, he did a big favor for them. You know, got them a little physical fitness there, a little motion in, and including me, need that. But Carl was trying to bring them outside. Now, based on the last videos from Carl, I know politicians lie, they're big fat liars. Therefore, I want to be a politician too. Throws the looks at the neighbor lawn, throws it at the neighbor, throws his butt at the neighbor, the butt of his cigarette at the neighbor's lawn, and laughs about it because nobody noticed. Oh, I'm so smart. I can ruin my neighbor's lawn. I'm just saying, be careful with that. And if you believe, because if you believe that you have any friendship with that man, you know, just threw Tommy Robinson under the bus recently, and he only came back defending him when he saw that there was a public outrage. So, well, perhaps as a politician he might be useful, but we can't count on might be anymore. Things need to get done, and we need to get the sociopaths, the antisocial people, the egocentric or maniacal people, and I'm not saying he's any of those, but I'm saying be careful, he might be, and those bad apples out of the way. Again, he's a guy that claimed to be one of the heads of a headless movement, a movement that had no leader, to the point that the guy who kick-started it left it because he didn't want to be perceived as such. And then we also have to remember, when we see that, the consistency, being consistent. One side is being consistent, the other side isn't. Carl has been invited now to participate in the kill streams. The money that they made would be donated to charity, to a cancer, so far as I know, cancer charity that has actually promoted and has been effective in combating child diseases. If you get the pun, the internet won't forgive Carl. I think they're up to here. They're up to here with Carl and his egomania. He refused. Mind you, Carl refused. He ran from the direct debate with Jim. Then, now he's refusing another direct debate with Jim, where the money was going to charity. 2 strikes. Now, after refusing those 2 debates, those 2 direct debates with Jim, he's offering, and that's another thing I've seen Carl do before, with the whole rationalist, and again, Carl was not the leader, he was one of them, the whole rationalist movement. I remember that. I remember even I felt compelled to actually say hi there, only to realize that what a little group of people, Carl involved, tried to do there, they tried to bottleneck the whole rationalist movement, the whole natural name rationality, into that little group of people that included him, Kraut, and a few people of his favorite group of friends. Now I see a lot of patterns towards sociopathy there, but I'm not going to mention it. I'm going to stick to the things. You draw your own conclusions. But yeah, so they try to bottleneck the movement of the rationals, so only their text would stand, their conversation would stand, and everybody else who wanted to say something was just streamed down. And I thought, that's not good, and then I left the group. I thought, that's not right. Then it's not about everybody's invited. No, it's not. Actually, just like the process of reason when we discussed that in university. Yeah. Like, oh, everybody's invited, but only those people dressed in that specific manner who happen to be my friend can come in. All the rest is not allowed to get in. And if you get in, we won't recognize you. We will look at you and see nothing. We won't talk to you. So I've seen a lot of that. So Carl now, after refusing 2 debates, two debates. One he ran from, the other he simply refused, officially refused to clarify it. They're still trying to clarify it. They're being more than fair with you, Carl. They're trying to clarify it. They're giving you, believe me, they're giving you an opportunity to explain yourself. At least to kind of realize you went too far and apologize. Be a human being, goddammit. And if you're pissed off with something they say, just say it to them. I've seen enough in in places like Killstream that if there is something that really upsets you about something they say or do, and you tell them, they kind of recognize it. They even apologize. Like they have a certain level of humbleness. What they don't apologize to is hypocrisy. They hate that, and who can blame them? You went too far. You call Jim some pretty nasty shit that he's not. Try to prove with a ridiculous clip. So I'm going to tell you what happens next. What happens next, as soon as half of them stops being confused, is that they are going to find everything, 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 everything that you said about children, and they are going to throw it at you full force. And you better be ready, because if you aren't, you're going to be gone. And again, pray to whatever is it you believe, even if it is in yourself only. Pray that they don't get the right catchphrase, because then you're over in the internet. Just like Boulder Boy, you're over. Surely you can come back later on, years after that, to see if there is a chance, but if they catch you in that, it's gone. Again, someone saying, oh man, we've been fooled all those years by his accent. Because of his accents, we didn't recognize he was a retard. They're still baffled, they're still confused. They want to be sure, because some of them believed that you were some of the things you said you were. But your last videos, where you just expose everything because you believe that you don't need the internet anymore because you spoke to Farage and you will speak with Trump. Anyone can speak with Farage or Trump. Anyone. That's one thing about them that you actually can do. Farage is constantly in pubs making his PR, okay, and it's a English tradition of British politicians to be in pubs. It's a pub tradition. It's so much a tradition. They have a pub inside the British Parliament. People go drunk in those places in the Parliament. Yes, they do. If you didn't know that, so it's a common. Margaret Thatcher. You know Margaret Thatcher. You know how she started her political career by working in a pub. Yes, Margaret Thatcher, the Margaret Thatcher, terror of the communists. She started her political career working in a pub as a waitress. She was a pub waitress. And look at her now. So it's a British tradition, okay, folks? Nothing to brag about. Oh, I read Locke. Everybody has access to Locke. Everybody can read Locke anytime they want. Do they want to read it? No. Why? Because it's basically mental masturbation from an era that is gone by eons ago. We need to find new concepts, new ideas, new ideologies. Why am I sharing it with that guy? He'll just steal it and claim it as his, as he tries to everything else. But anyway, point being, you went too far. People are still giving you a chance to apologize. You're playing arrogant. You are playing dim. You not dim. You're playing that you're too good for them. You're too valuable when you're not. This is irritating a lot of people. A lot of your friends might realize that perhaps you're not their friend. Perhaps you just use them as shields to avoid criticism to yourself. You're trying to get Count Dankula to be your shield now. However, I believe Count Dankula is more clever than that. He's still trying to save you for the sake of ethics, because he stands for a certain set of principles. V, who used to be funny and now only talks about political drivel, but is taking a lot of hits, is taking a lot of shots, is getting a lot of respect by his detractors because he's man enough to take a lot of hits by himself, Carl. For you, for others, for the team. And everybody can respect that. This is not what you're doing, Carl. You are actually making a lot of trouble. You're bringing your teammates into trouble. So you don't care about the team, as you said in some of your videos. You don't care about the internet. You don't care about anybody else. Carl said it himself, like, because he's so confident that he has everything now. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need everybody who's supporting. As him throwing Tom Robinson under the bus, only to backpedal because there was a public outcry to release him, so he wanted to, you know, be popular again. So Carl's friends should be really concerned about that, and perhaps, I don't know any of you personally, but perhaps consider that you might be used to shield somebody who doesn't deserve defense. Because if someone called you what Carl called Jim, you would not like it and try to prove based in a clip of a conversation completely taken out of context. Uh, that doesn't show any true intent in anything really. That's slander. There is no evidence. The evidence are actually counter-proving the guy was above legal age of consent, and Jim was trying to get him to admit to what he was doing. That was wrong. You're going against that kind of guy. It shows that either you don't care, you really don't care, or you want to harm good people. Oh, but Jim is not good. Depends on the context. Not good in what sense? Not good for going against pedophiles. It's pretty good for calling people out for the bullshit. He's very good at it. In that sense, he's doing good. Thanks to his video, people had any speck of evidence to prove that there was not journalistic integrity. Now, thanks to Gamergate, we have gaming journalistic integrity at least. Gawker Media filed for bankruptcy because they were beaten into pulp for trying to stand up against Gamergate. It was a victorious movement without any leader. Everybody was doing their part to expose the hypocrisy, the fact that people were sleeping with people to get their games published and stuff like that. What Carl did actually in that sense was very counterproductive, because he focused in two, and then later on three, an attention-seeking person with clear problems. But two, and they were women, and then the third was a member of a minority and very influential. So thanks to people like Carl, the media actually had a field day, had something to cling to be able to attack Gamergate. Cal was in fact a weak link, if anything. And the fact that he tried to claim leadership over that, that is just disgraceful. Shameful display! Ah, so bad. So Cal, people are giving you a chance to apologize. You should go to Killstream. You should not try to call them to your channel. Everybody knows what you're up to now. You said it yourself. You put it all up there because you were so full of yourself, so confident that you don't need anybody in the internet anymore. That because you spoke to Farage. I mean, how a taxi driver speaks to Farage. Uh, uh, you know, children in Farage's family kindergarten, where his children go to, speak to Farage. Then what? So pray that you never said anything that can be taken out of context, or worse, into context, about children. And I mean, Mr. I wouldn't even rape you. The media already has that on you. If they can attach more phrases that came from your mouth into bad profiling you, oh boy, they will. I doubt you have, well, perhaps if you take that stream, you might have a chance in British politics, at least. You know, the whole Savage, or what was the name of that horrible person? You know, like, seems to be a, who knows, perhaps you become their poster boy. So there might be a chance for you in that sense. But the people who so far have gone along with your game, you'll be against them. Not me. I'm just passing by. It's just shocked me, and I'm just doing this video to get this out of my system because it's so ugh, it's so low, so there, untrue, unfactual, despicable, dirty. You know, I feel dirty after watching that, and I enjoy Killstream and that kind of stuff, and some, not all, of Jim's videos and all that. But that was just ugh. That's a big no-no. Even I have my hard limits, and so to speak. So don't do that to yourself, man. Put yourself together, lad. Apologize. Pray there is a chance for you. Pray that they still baffled enough not to find a catchphrase for you, because when they do, based on what you call somebody unrightfully so, while claiming to be on a higher moral ground. People are tired of hypocrisy. That's why things like Gamergate happened. That's why things like the the whole European Union tried to fight that. You know, it's reaching critical level, and it's nothing to take advantage of, because the first will be the last and the last will be the first. I made a video before trying to warn you folks. Now, just like the French Revolution, the first government went down. They were themselves destroyed in the process. So is that what you are going for? You made a terrible mistake, because if you were playing a game, because you don't do that to people. You don't do that to people. You don't call them that. That's just too horrifying. And if you meant it as a joke, well, anyone can play that joke. I can say, and I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I can say, then Sargon is a pedophile. And then if somebody, oh, but that's splendid, and then I can just say, as you did with you try to do, yet still insisting. You said, oh, I didn't mean that Sargon. I mean the original Sargon. You might as well be a pedophile. Not that Sargon, the other Sargon. But Sargon is a pedophile. Do you understand in what area of the internet you are getting into? What dark spot you are getting into? And you were never really good at that kind of game. I warned you before. And I wasn't wrong. It's a big no-no. SJWs, they are low-hanging fruit. They are easy to disprove because they are defending lies. But and they let emotion get the best of them, so they lose their track at some point. That's not the same with the kind of people with very uh, focused and serious people. They're probably very serious people in real life. God knows if one day comes out Jim happens to be a judge or a lawyer, high somebody in some legal position, you know, psychology field or whatever, something like that. If Jin suddenly is a police officer looking for criminals in the web to expose them in a way that he cannot directly do following laws proper, but what if suddenly he's someone like that in real life? Or worse. You know, that's the thing. Why go there? Why even go there? And I believe this is what Styx tried to mean. But Styx got carried away with the whole, you know, it's a psychological trait. Oh, things are not that bad. He doesn't, you know, no. And they are not in the same level. Count Dankula. It's not Boomer against Boomer. I know you mean it well. You try to deflect because you consider Carl as a friend, and you know what's coming for him if this goes on. But sometimes you just need to let it, especially when the person say, "Oh, I don't care about any of you." You know, Farage spoke to me. Farage is no god, man, and neither are you. Claiming leadership of Gamergate is not what pissed me off. I expect that of, you know, silly people. Um, the fact that you tried to trash Jim, who gave you so much, he basically gave you your career. And the fact that by you attacking Anita and Chelsea specifically, all the time, all the fucking time, I don't know, I lost count of how many videos you and Jabo and made about her that allow the media the slow paced, lazy brain dead media to even realize that there was a pattern somewhere and catch on to that and call you and thus Gamergate something bad. You know, you were the weak link, if anything. Okay, it was thanks to you, thanks to people like you, that the mainstream media could call Gamergate something nasty because you gave them plenty of material. Now they want to catch you again, and they will. And what an auspicious moment. And it should be a huge, massive red flag for Carl if you happen to be a fan and reach so long in this video. Bear with me. When when a journalist was the one who contacted Carl to tell him that his video was without audio, the video that he was doing in response to Jim, when it was supposed to be the two talking, but he decided to go on air in a time that Jim would be asleep. Jim. It was a journalist who called Carl's attention. Now, is Carl a shield? Is Carl working for those people to implode any movement that aims towards freedom of speech? I could go down that line of reasoning. Although I'm pretty sure that it will be much more popular calling Carl what Carl tried to imply Jim would be. Ho ho ho. Is Carl working for those people? Because he gave them exactly what they needed. He gave them exactly always what they wanted to implode movements. He bottlenecked rationalism, didn't let anyone else speak. It was basically him, Kraut, that gay guy, and a few of his back then inner circle. They're probably not his friends anymore. Count Uncle, get used to it. Now we get used to it. You'll be thrown under a bus at the first opportunity given. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm absolutely mistaken. Completely. But what if I'm not? What if I'm right? What if Carl is a sociopath? I'm not saying he is. What if Sargon is a pedophile? I don't mean that Sargon. What ifs, what ifs, what ifs. It was nasty. It was nasty. You could have said so many things about Jim. If you if you wanted to banter with Jim, and if you just would have gone down that line, oh, you didn't have the guts to come out and show your real name, would be palatable. Do you understand? Could be accepted as a criticism, as a valid criticism. Jim can do whatever he wants as long as he's not doing something wrong. For whatever reasons he left, could be anything, but it would be a valid consideration of a possibility. People can accept that, but they can't accept, or they shouldn't accept, to be put in the same level of Jimmy when it's obviously not. Shouldn't accept is that you come with that kind of allegations and try, based in a video, in a taken out of context piece of recording that turns out to be completely different from what you alleged. The guy is not 17, he was 19, and he was being an asshole, and Jim was trying to expose him. He was not grooming anyone. He was having a conversation. He was talking with a guy, trying to get something out of him. Like you wanted to talk so much with Anita and people like that. So pray that they don't find. I haven't seen full criticism of what you did yet. I'm about to see, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to see full criticism of you. Pray that people don't find all the things you said about children that might be put in a bad light, because this is what you tried to do with Jim when it wasn't even a child. And the fact that Jim's stats of the people who follow him, only 2.3 or something percent, 2.3% out of 100 people, only 2 technically happen to be from 13 to 17. The rest are grown up. Don't do that when the other side can clearly prove this is not the case. What are you trying to do? Ruin your political career? You think those people are going to vote for you? So Pray they don't find anything you said or wrote that can be about children that can be misinterpreted, because if these are your standards to the point you're so uptight that Jim could not speak to a child, to a teenager, pray that they don't find anything you say specifically for children. Forget teenagers. They're going for the children. You use kids and child and children. They're going for that. If you said or wrote anything related to that based in your uptight standards, and that's what puzzled me and anybody else who knows about you. You are the Mr. I wouldn't even rape you. Oh, but we should be allowed to say that to Commissar uptight. He because he talked to someone that is not underage, that is above age, is 19 years old, about a very specific topic, trying to expose that person from doing something wrong. He can be considered that he's grooming, therefore ergo he's grooming children. What is going on there? Are you cracking under pressure? Is it really the fact that Jim can claim he's more popular than you, despite the fact that you tried to trash him when he when it was sure that he was gone from the web for some time? Are you that level of opportunist? Because we should consider opportunism here, right? But you can be an opportunist, but you're just flat out being nasty. Remember, folks, Jim was never Jim. Jim hadn't had a beef with Carl. Carl invented a beef and he's running with it. He's picking constantly on Jim every opportunity he can. Now he went too far. Don't be lenient to the guy. No, don't be, oh no, we need to dump it down. And no, I don't think we need. Carl needs to step forward, apologize, be what he claims to be, worthy of the title, and not less than. If he's claiming, because Jim, I still can't get over with that. And if I can't get over, because I know it's just the fucking internet, virtual reality. He tried to claim Jim was something really nasty because of a conversation, a piece that is not, turns out to be completely different context. Trying to incriminate Jim to, that's slander. Again, if Jim was a real person, he would have filed for slander. And Cal is, the fact that Cal is counting on that he knows that he can't do it right now because he doesn't want to. It's your own business. Mind your own business, man. That's pretty nasty. Pray you have never said anything that can be misconstrued about children, because they will find it, they will expose it. And then pray again, pray twice, that they don't find a catchphrase tagging you to that specific nasty stuff that you try to call Jim for. Because when they do, and if they do, and when they do, if you don't come out right now and apologize and be a bigger person that you are not, you're showing you are not. It's not me. I'm just passing by. I'm just getting it out of my system. At least keep a facade, man, for Christ's sake, if you are not if you don't have the moral ground. Because right now you don't. What you did was wrong. People should call it out for being wrong because it is, and we should stop being hypocritical. That's what is wrong in our society. It's just lies on top of lies on top of lies on top of lies, and then everything crumbles down. Be consistent. This is all I'm saying. Apologize to Jim, not to me. I couldn't care less. No. Apologize to Jim. Said, okay, I went too far. Shouldn't have done that. It's not nice. I wouldn't like it to be done to me. But believe me, even the people in Killstream, if you would have come, if there is something that would make you aggravated and you said it to them honestly, they would consider it. What people can't stand is the hypocrisy, the falsehood, the fact that they see you throwing your friends under the bus again and again and again and again. And somehow, just like a sociopath, somehow there's still friends trying to defend you. Don't defend someone when they are in the wrong. Okay, if you are a true friend, why are people defending him? That's the part I don't get. Oh, come out, have a conversation with Jim, face what you did. The fact that you are running from it, and now that you will only accept it in your channel, what you get to control, no more bottlenecks. So far you have avoided criticism because you created this sociopathic bottleneck. Don't do that. No, I'm not calling anybody other than one person specifically a potential sociopath for being part of that. They have been fooled into believing something that is not. But trying to call them to your channel now after you refused one time already, you went when the guy was asleep in your own channel to attack him. That's coward. That's cowardice. That's cowardice right there. And then the second time you were called and the money would be for a donation for an institution that has prevented diseases. So it's not a hoax. And you refused despite being that the money made on this would be for children. Do you realize you're messing with some very smart people? No. They're going to get you. They're going to get you good if they haven't already. Because nobody was expecting that. Nobody. Nobody. Why? Because that's self-defeat. So yeah, and pray a third thing, that they forget it. Although I don't think they will. That they do what I do and forget it. I don't think they will. Now you really got it. Like, it's just sad to see. In that sense, I understand Stick's feelings about the matter, but at the same time, dead wood should be burned. And if it is dead wood, if it is dead weight, you understand? If you really think about it, and then you start realizing everything went to hell after this guy put the finger on it because he gave the exact thing that the opponents needed to trash those movements. And he's doing it again. That's, for us, certain people will say that's problematic. Yeah, I don't want to dwell in that. I mean, I think I already said enough. I want to move on, but this should move on until it's properly clarified. Okay, I'm guessing they're going to find out. They might be already talking, most definitely, yeah, talking about all the things like finding clips around the web of all the nasty things Carl said about children, and they're going to compile it and they are going to put it online. And that's why you have the silence. It's just like the tide has retrieved, like the waves have retrieved a kilometer into back into the sea. Because what's coming next is going to be a fucking tsunami. Like it's going to swallow everything. It's going to change everything. That is for sure. It's going to be a good change because we are getting rid of what doesn't work, what is counterproductive here. If it is a movement, that's how it should be. And it saddens me, but there's no way around it. When someone goes too far, no, there is a way around. Somebody goes too far, they should come out and apology. Isn't that what should be expected of a movement that is about ethics and morals and high moral standards, and we care about everybody? Self honesty. Be honest to yourself, not just to others. Be honest with yourself, within yourself. I don't think Carl is being honest about himself. Therefore, it's not just one against the other. No, it's clearly not. It's just Carl fucked up. He needs to come out, take the heat for it. If he doesn't, it's going to be horrifying what is coming. I mean, we've seen it already with Boulder Boy. So don't. And they are not going to be pissed even. They are going to be relieved, as it was the case. Those people are good at it. Way better than other people are. And regardless of if they are good at it or not, I don't see myself doing something like that. Therefore, I think I can kind of, wait a minute. No, it's just, yeah. Oof, it's out of my system. Again, it's not a question of taking sides. If Jim had done it, if Jim came out and had said, oh, Carl is grooming children, and then show a snip of Carl trying to get someone bad that is above age of consent. The guy can drive, he can vote, he can do everything. He can live together, he can have a job, start his own business. Not a kid, not a child. Trying to get the guy to admit to what he's doing wrong. As, oh, see, he's grooming people. Oh, he's grooming kids, he's grooming children. No. If Jin had come out and said that, I would take Carl's side 100%. Because you don't do that to people, regardless. Do you understand? So it's not a question of taking sides. They're not in equal opposites. No. One has fucked up. And he just needs to admit to it and work to resolve this. This is not what is going on. He literally dissed the entire internet because he now thinks he doesn't need anyone from the internet because he talked with Farage. He's a member of a political party. My friend, I have been a member of several political parties in my life since I was a teenager. And anyone can be. They beg you literally to be a member. Like there's no. That's what parties is about. Why do you think they have elections? So they have an excuse as well as to come out and ask people to join their party. That's something people do. Parties do. I mean, it's so weird. It's like those guys live in a shell or under a rock. It gives me that impression. Suddenly the joke of the guy living in the basement kind of makes sense because, oh, I'm very important now. I joined a political party, a real one, not one that is in my head. I joined a political party and I spoke to a well-known politician. He spoke to me. Such a level of low self-esteem. Really? Guy who sits in a pub that everybody can talk to. You know what pubs he sits in. And this is what people will start to point out. So one way or another, if they have a catchphrase, you're gone. Like, you're gone. And I'm saying that because I care. I don't want to see any of this happen. But unlike Sticks, who try to be, no, let's calm down. Because he likes Carl. He has said it several times. This is not just, there's something else in there. But that I don't want to get into. Um, no, no, I disagree. It's not an equal stance. It's not the community fighting within itself. We need to stick together against the. That's what all the communist regimes have done. And look what they turned on. They turned out. Look how they turned out. I think that's proper English. Look how they turned out. They put a maniac in power, in the name of unity, in the name of unity, in the name of unity, in the name of, until they're all dead of starvation in the name of unity because they put a maniacal bastard in power that doesn't care about anybody else but themselves. That's what tends to happen when you think like that. No, when something like that happens, you need to find the problem, find who caused it, bring that person to and call that person out, solve the problem. It's good that this community fights. Oh, you're giving it fuel to the enemy. To what enemy? I don't have enemies. This community has no enemies. What people need is just to be brought about to the notion that we need freedom of speech. There is no enemy. Do you understand? It's just something that people just need to realize, and that's it. From all sides of the equation. That's the only thing there is. That once they realize that that should be all right, that they will have less problems in their lives, not more. Everybody will join in. So especially the rich ones, once they find out they can actually profit from it. But it's not. Don't give someone who has screwed up several times an excuse to screw up once more. Don't let him ruin yet another movement by trying to bottleneck, by trying to squeeze the movement because he thinks too highly of himself. Oh, I read Locke. Who hasn't? Who can't? Everybody can. Why would they read Locke? Why is it even relevant as any sort of argument? So what? I read Locke. I read Locke. I read so. I mean, I studied philosophy in university. Have you studied philosophy in university? No, you haven't. So shut up. Not only I read Locke, I know the different perspectives about Locke and against Locke and Locke. I'm sick and tired of Locke. We went through Locke several times over, different perspectives. I know most of what can be said about Locke, and I don't care, it's irrelevant, that's not the direction I'm going. You just read a darn book, goddammit. Do you know how many books I read? Or anybody, or half, if not like all the people who watch the kind of stuff that we watch. And why we watch those scummy stuff? Because we are tired of reading Locke. We want to have some fun. Let us have some fun, you uptight cunt. Yeah, truth be said. You throw your cigarette butt to your neighbor's garden and you laugh about it because you think nobody is looking. So if you read Locke, obviously you don't understand what he means and the kind of people he's against. People like you. People like you, Carl. Locke didn't like people like you. He's talking about against people like you, Carl. Professional politicians, the sophists. That's the kind of people Locke didn't like. But I read Locke. Then you didn't understand him, Carl. Locke. What else did you read other than Locke? You know, Hume, Nietzsche. There's so many. Kierkegaard. What? Shameful display. That's what people want to hear when they go on the internet because they are filled up with Locke and all those philosophers. So when they go to those channels, they want to be entertained. You know why I used to watch you? For the same reason I used to watch we, for entertainment. You know, the little train that could. Oh man, those guys are trying. Let me see what they are saying. Oh man, oh, V is so funny. Let me toy with him. Let's see what he does. And then I toyed with him under different names, and he gave me some reaction. It was funny. You brainwashed the dude, man. Now he only takes your shit. He's the one that you are throwing in the mud. He's throwing. The guy has been so thrown in shit for your cause that people are actually starting to respect him for taking it like a man, not only for himself, but for his friends. People respect that. What they don't respect is someone coming out with false allegations about someone that is completely not true. That's what people don't respect. Why? Because it can be done. If they let it done to one, it can be done against them eventually. So it's just sad. I have this out of my system. And it's gone.